Edo State government has, as part of its policies, decided that we must now begin to have detailed physical and socio-economic plans for the state. Everywhere I go, people say to us, you people have tried. You are doing well. But our concern is that when you leave, how will what you're doing continue? And what have we done over the last 4 years? We just opened up the city. People are coming to do business. Now people cannot move because where markets should not be located, they are located. And they constrict the flow of traffic. Look at the issue of flooding. When rain falls, it's like this is the kind of rain that is falling today never used to fall in this part of the world. But when a small rain falls today, everywhere is flooded because we didn't plan where the natural drainage path, where water should have gone, it's all built up with all sorts. You come into the city, it just is sprawling into large slums. People come in and they just build anyhow, no approval, no permission, no permits. What about the issue of land? I can go on and on and on. So over the last several months, we have undertaken this exercise of trying to create a culture of planning. It has to start with government. Because as one of the banners say, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Your cities will fail. Your communities will fail. You find the kind of clashes we're having today. So as a government that was popularly elected by the people, we believe we owe it to the people to set a path to the future, that this is where we are going. So that if tomorrow somebody is building somewhere, you can say, no, you cannot build here. We agreed that we cannot have houses in this area. This is where water flows through. And then you raise it, and somebody in the ministry will say, yes, it is true. You cannot build there, and we enforce that code. You cannot just wake up in the morning and people just gather somewhere and they say they've started a market and they are selling there. No. Every house cannot be a market. Every house cannot be a church or a place of worship. It's important that we have order for our own sake and for the value of our own assets. One community we do not joke with is the Christian community. Particularly when we look back and thank God for the life of people like the late Archbishop Idahosa and what they have used, what God has used them to turn Edo into. That when you look through the South, the majority of anybody who is anybody in the Christian faith today passed through this city. So we see you as one of the key planks of our administration. I cannot be telling you about what goes on with the Christian body. You know more than we do. But we believe that it is only you helping us that can talk to the rest, that things cannot go on this way. So what we have done in the last several weeks is to now come up with, first we have hired an international firm to help us with laying out a physical plan for the city. But I told them, I said, we don't want you to sit down and write a document for us. You will sit with us and we will plan together. Each ministry, each agency must come up with their own plans. As they will tell you, we have started. We did the sample. We've gone to some communities. And what we found has been quite disturbing. Take the first community we went to, Amagba. You remember we did the road into Amagba. The communities, they practically sold all the land in that place. Okay, we now say no problem. Let us even find out what is going on there. We sent people every street to just check, every plot. The ones that have been built, the ones that are under construction, the ones that have not been built, went round. And what we found, I don't think is something we want to continue. People sold land there. But there are some places you get to, they even sold the road. You can't even get to those homes. We counted about 5,200 properties in that location, that community. That means in that community alone, there cannot be less than 25 to 30,000 people. There's no bank. Only one primary school. No healthcare center. And 80% of the roads are, in fact, 95% are untarred roads. People have settled there. Now they are calling government, we don't have this, we don't have that, they cannot live, So the cost of now, by paying compensation, by breaking houses, building, is just too much. Then we set up churches or places of worship. There's no parking. So when people come, where would they park? They park on the road. They create traffic. So we are saying, no, join us. Let us now start a process of reordering the city. So this is an interactive session. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. We want to solicit your support and cooperation and prayers as usual, so that we can first replan our states and our cities.
When this administration came into full force, the church told the government that we will partner with this administration, and His Excellency, by the grace of God, is a Christian, is a child of God, and he has been faithfully committed to the destiny of the state and is committed to the church. So let's know that our governor is sincere, and the things we'll be discussing is so that at the end of the day, Edo State can move forward and the church can also go forward.
Bringing a new plan like this is going to affect existing churches and houses. So we need to know this plan we are bringing and how we can advise. It's like what we are seeing at Abuja. Many houses started giving way, and it's going to cause a lot of commotion and confusion. They will be able to say, this area, this is what we should do to avoid those confusion. But as of now, we are just being told, we just see the theoretical part of it, but we have not heard about the practice. So I think they need to give us light in that area.
When this present government came in, they did something wonderful that everybody applauds. That is the land grabbers. And of recent, it looks that the enthusiasm the government started with is reducing. I think that's where we started from. Because there are some notes, or the natural canal have been blocked by so-called individuals that just believe that a boy day, nothing will happen because they have some backing. And that has really instructed or destroyed the plan of the government. And of recent too, there was also drainage system that was going on, that as of today, is a little bit, the enthusiasm they started with is also reducing. And those are some of these things that created problem for the master plan of Benin City. Let me also use Benin City as a case study. And you go to some places today also, some residential houses have been turned to hotel. without building plan. How did they get to that place? And what this government is doing about it? And we also saw that some of the government agency and ministry, they are on break in Dubai. If they are not on break, when I say they are on break, they seems not to be functioning. Because when somebody, a very small building in a residential house before, somebody come and buy it, and within a few times, it's erecting binding upstairs. And the government is not, the government agency or the ministry are looking. If not approved, or they pretend not to see it, I think that's part of the major problem. And they are also, sir, if I may really ask, of recent we hear some individual estate developers. Some of these estate developers, they develop a community, and they are not putting, I don't know whether they are liaising with the fiscal planning ministry or not. No proper planning, and you go to that place, instead, they are only interested in what they can get from that sales, not what they can contribute to that estate. I think we must go forward. First and foremost, the government themselves must put some plan in place, which we are just starting now, to see that such further issues will not occur.
With all sincerity of heart, we want to thank you for this meeting. If what we are seeing today has happened maybe 20 years ago, Edo State would have been a small London. We really want to thank you. In fact, God will continue to honor you the way you are honoring the church. You have said it all. The last statement, that is why we are. The Father is the beginning from us. By the grace of God, we want to thank God that Edo State, we call it Pentecostal city. Most churches has fallen a victim of buying lands from community people. And by the time you want to register your building, it becomes a problem. It's either the government will tell you, this area is not for the community. It belongs to a Greek, or it belongs to this. That will put a hold on the building plan. My appeal, Mr. Governor, is that please look into, because the little homework we have done, I'm talking about PFM now, all pastors have been told to get ready to go and register their church. We are ready. Because we just had our school of ministry, that was the talk. We want to make a plea. I know that CFO now is so easy. Before you came on board, it was like raising your hand to reach heaven. But you made it easy. That is what I learned. We are ready to submit our building plan. Will the government be ready to approve it to us? Knowing fully well that most of us have made mistakes, let me call it mistakes, in acquiring land that the community, we thought it was community and urban approval. So that is our appeal. We are ready to register our church building plans. We are ready. Abiario.
My appeal, sir, to you and to the Honorable Commissioner is that please, whatever we have heard as churches, especially the Pentecostal churches, young pastors who have a vision, whatever master plan we have in Edo State, would like to appeal, like my mother, the PFN chairman, has said, give us time and incorporate us into it. Many of us may have spaces we have even built as a church, and we may not have parking space. If you give us an option, like this is the deputy chairman of PFN Edo State, Dr. Asemuta, had whispered to me that we can have a policy of, okay, you have space for 10 cars, not more than 10 persons bring their cars to church, so that we don't block the street.
Whatever master plan you have, we are appealing. You give us time, you incorporate something to it. We'll partner with the state, but on behalf of all the young pastors, Pentecostal pastors here, we are appealing to you, give us time. There are churches they call mushroom churches. 10 years ago, they said there were 10 churches on every street. But today is 10 beer parlor on every street. So we appeal to you on our behalf. Am I speaking for you? Give us time. We'll key into the master plan. We'll come with our approvers. We'll not deviate from it. But those who have vision where 2 or 3 are gathered, let them grow. With time, we'll lock in. Thank you very much, sir.
So what do? What we are saying is we have started the process of sensitization so that we all know what government is about. And what I've heard you say is that you are committed to partner with government in this process of replanning the states. Is that so? Okay. So in so doing, the first thing is those of you who are already operating from certain premises, we need to sit with you. And I'll plead with the commissioner that you set up a special track. You can't mix the church with the rest of the people. You set up a special office. Let us now look at each case in each community. What do we do about buildings of places of worship that block drainage areas? Not only places of worship, or if we come into a place now and say we are clearing everybody, but should we exempt the church from that? Okay. So we want to be sure, but nobody will single out church and say, no. We come up and say, show you the contours, say, this is the water path, this is what is going on here. What do? We will have sessions with the community before we take any action. 2, thank God the CJ's rep is here. For land grabbing, let me just tell you, I've gone to the IG. He's giving me 5 armored personnel carriers. You'll soon see them. We are building trucks with automatic guns on top of them. If you go to Idenya Street now, we have acquired the building, we have decorated it. It's a barrack for a special force that we host about 100 men. So I am declared a war. We are going to go. The Committee on Protection of Private Property has come up and we've taken a list of all the petitions. There are about 420 or so of them. We're reviewing each petition. We will go to those communities and look for those people. If they are bigger than government, they will tell us. And we now appeal to all of you, help us, give us more information so that we can calm this place. We cannot continue like this, where people just wake up in the morning, they go in the community, take other people's farmland, bulldoze it, allocate it, and sell it and collect the money. If we don't stop them, tomorrow it is your own churches they will come after. So in the issue of land grabbing, it's a war. They are armed, we want to be more armed than them. Nobody can have more arms than government. The blocked natural canals, you saw particularly towards Upper Sakoba, Sapele Road, you can see the devastation that is going on there. Because all that water, see where it's going into your churches, it's going to all sorts of areas. We will come back to you because we are doing a lot of extensive work, a lot of aerial mapping to show you how this flow has been affected. In terms of drainage, there's been a lot of work done. If you notice in some areas now, you see large ponds in Capiona, in what's it called, Rediawa, all sorts of areas. We're building more, a few more come. So these are, in Benin in those days, you have what you call Ogodo, where this water has gathered. But they are all built up. So the water doesn't have to look for other areas. And sometimes it's inside your houses, inside your churches. So we are now looking at where it's been very expensive. The money we should have used in creating new towns, we are now using to dig hole to gather the water that should have flown into natural areas. And then because of people are not taking permission, they're not they're not registering their buildings. Like GRA, when Oyibo constructed their design GRA, they didn't design drainage because there were green areas. When rain falls, it will go inside those areas. And you know, as God did our land, water does not gather for long. After 1 night, 2 nights, everything will sink and go. But now, everywhere is built up. A compound that used to take one house now has maybe 40 flats. We can't pull them down, so we'll still look for ways to continue with our drainage master plan for the city. But what we are going to also do, because every day people are writing to me, oh, Governor, come, there's erosion, there's erosion. I'm not going to borrow money again and start to fill holes. I told World Bank, I can't, because how do we explain to our children that how we spent the money we have borrowed? So I borrowed $100 million. Then tomorrow, when the children are paying the loan, they'll say, okay, what did they do with this money? They'll say, oh, there was a hole here before. Erosion took it. I covered it. Do you understand? So we have an erosion control agency that will go around in terms of advocacy, because erosion doesn't start big. It starts from one rainy season. If you don't take care of it, by the next rainy season, it will then expand to a point where you cannot even control it anymore. It will carry your house and carry everything in its path. We talked about a planning agency. This woman and her people, they are the part of the problem. But like you said, we have to sanitize government first, and we're doing a lot. A lot is going on. They say, why I'm optimistic? They say if you want a job done, give it to a woman. In the Ministry of Physical Planning, I have 2 women, not one. But they have challenges. They are working in a place that people, like you said, they went on holiday for a long time. Only God knew where they got the money to go on that holiday. That when she came, one day she was going through some offices and she saw a register with some money inside the register and a list of names where staff in the ministry have their own register where they collect money from people so that they can look the other way. But all those have been taken care of. We know the challenges we have inside of government. People are being retrained. We are trying to hire more people into the civil service, train them. You see the John Odige Oyegu Center we have opened is training, so that they can have a new orientation to government work. And then lastly, activities of real estate developers. Part of what we're doing now is to first say we are coming up with the master plan. Every area, every square inch of a Edo must be planned. We can tell you that, okay, today this area is bush. This area belongs to this community. But before they do anything, they must come and register that plan with government. If not, they cannot sell any land there. Nobody will approve anything for them. Is that clear? So that you are not deceived. Before you go in, anybody offer you just go onto the computer, you go in, you log in, look at the area, the government will say this is the planning area, this is what it is meant for, you leave them. Because if you go and buy that land, you will not get approval. And this time around, we'll not even allow you to develop. We'll just take it down as soon as you start the development. Before this regime leaves, we will come back to you. By the end of this year, we'll go around every community. This is the plan for the area. You yourself are the ones to help us police. If somebody starts to do something here, you say, no, we did not agree that this will be here. You will first raise alarm. If it continues, you write. And if you are not, you will not answer. We have the mechanisms for you to ensure that your complaints are heard. It can't be perfect. We won't get it right. But the important thing is that we continue to dialogue. And we have an open system so that nobody persecutes. But help us. Tell your people, tell the parishioners, tell them not to give bribe. Because it doesn't matter if you give bribe and they pass today, it doesn't mean that that matter is covered. You understand? We are making sure that government moves to an electronic platform. We are doing what they call e-government. So on your phone, on your computer, just send the rights. Go in there, log into the site of the ministry to get any information you want. Don't say somebody came, you give them some money and they go away. Another will still come to make sure you do the right thing. So whatever it is, we are going to open a special track for the churches, the places of worship, to see how we can begin to correct the mistakes of the past.
I think he has made it clear, and I'm sure you are all informed. But that is one leg. Like I said earlier, you are influencers. So you also tell your people. He has mandated me to set a special track for churches. And I assure you that we will do that immediately. I will send the details to Khan and the heads of the sectors to say, these are, if anybody wants, please, this is the contact. But not only that, I'll tell you what to bring. So don't waste your time. So you know from onset, these are the things we need. Another thing I need to say to you, there are some of you that already have approvals. I know that because I've had this engagement. But you had approval for your initial development. What I mean by that, maybe you had a church, first of all. So that was what you submitted. But subsequently, there is a hospital. There is a school. There is youth area, children's church, and it's just going on and on. For us in the master plan, it's not about coming to tell you to pay. That's not really the point. If we don't know how many buildings are inside your church premises, we'll not know how to cater to your infrastructure needs. So we need to start thinking about this and putting it in our plans. As we are building, we need to contain the noise. So I will give all that information. I give my word because I've been directed.
You can even see that the governor said the church should not be mixed with the other society, that he would deal with the church very specifically because he understands us. So we want to thank the executive governor. Mr. Governor, we will continue to pray for you. I will continue to pray for your administration. And Edo State will go from glory to glory. In Jesus' name. My honorable commissioner, we love you. You are doing a great work. What we want to beg you is this, that the governor is very kind. Make sure you are not very tough. Praise the Lord. Your Excellency, we thank God for this plan. We want to remind you, Your Excellency, about the Ecumenical Center, and so that they can put it in the plan. Your Excellency, this is one of the things that they have been disturbing the church in Edo State, where church buses with their names written on the buses. You see people stopping the buses and say they must pay this, they must pay this. Mr. Governor, we want to ask for your kind approval to give us a waiver so that church buses will not be disturbed anymore. And also, church signboards. Churches are charity organizations. And so, please, we beg you, Mr. Governor, that they should not bring down our signboards for the churches.